Alright guys, so here we are in Big Bear, California. Recently acquired scenery. Pretty cool. Just came here to the restaurant, had a quick breakfast, and anyways, chow's over. Check out the scenery, the mountains. And there's our bird, the Pilatus PC-24. Kind of like a Phenom 300, but if the Phenom 300 took some steroids and beefed up. Think about it. You're the Phenom 300, the PC-24 is the guy your girl told you not to worry about. Anyways, you guys know the drill with these tutorial series videos Captain Flako and I've been putting out. So let's get right down to it. We've got some covers, chocks, and stuff to take a look at. So let's go ahead and pull up that EFV. Go to the aircraft. Let's bring this over so you guys can see it in the window here. Checklists, expert, pre-flight inspection, chocks. We'll take a look. Chocks are obviously around the main and nose landing gear. Nose gear tire, check. Oh, let me get my tool tips enabled again. Sorry, guys. Let's go to the flight interface. Here we go. Instant. There we are. All right, so now we can refer back to that checklist, and it wants us to check, and I just got ran over. That was awesome. Anyways. Good tire condition. Let's go to the right aileron and shake it. So we're going to walk around. And you know what? While we're here, let's go ahead and pull the pitot covers. Everything looks good. Looking at the leading edge. Fuel cap. Nav light assembly. Looks good. Here's the right aileron. We're going to give it a good old shaky. That's a good aileron. Right tire. New conditions. Flaps look good. Rudder. Let's do a visual inspection. While we're here, let's go ahead and pull the engine covers as well. This model is, of course, by Coronado and Asobo in Microsoft Flight Sim Studios. They did an amazing job. Another beautiful rendition of a beautiful aircraft. Rudder looks good. Elevator. Yep, looks good. Can't reach it up there. We'll walk around. We're going to check the ELT hatch here. Not the ELT hatch. This is like the access hatch. I think they call them the hellhole in bigger aircraft where the APU would sit at because it is hot. Here's your GPU connection, 28 volts DC. And here's your cargo door opening, which is a hallmark feature of Pilatus aircraft. As you guys know, on the PC-12, the PC-24 has the same thing. Big opening here for cargo. And this is pretty awesome for a light jet. There goes my assailant, the murderer. They just ran me over like nothing ever happened. Typical ramp behavior. Left flap, good. Left tire. Looks good. Left aileron. Good old shaky shake. Good. All right. I'll call that the pre-flight inspection has been completed. We're going to take a look at the nav light assembly and the strobe here. Checking out the leading edge here. No dents, no bugs, no birds. And one thing I forgot to check. Let's go around to the front. Make sure all my access panels are covered. The single point pressure refueling, which is pretty cool. For a light jet, it has a single point pressure refueling port like the Phenom 300. And unlike other small jets, you don't have to go to the overwing here and fuel it with like a typical nozzle like you would at the gas station. Just a little bigger. All right, guys. Pre-flight inspection is complete. Let's go ahead and refer to our before starting engine checklist. And let's go ahead and jump in the cockpit. Here we are. All right, guys. Parking brake set. So we're going to see the parking brake right here is this red handle. You can see it is on. Battery switches have to come on. So let's translate over. Battery switches are on. The FMS GPS flight plan as desired, and ensure that the flight management system or FMS GPS and flight plan are set as desired for the planned flight. I will be doing a VFR flight around here today, as we typically do in these flights and videos, so no worries. Altimeter, set the barometer. So check altimeter and adjust to current altitude if needed. Don't know why it does that, but you can see that it's highlighting the barrel knob, right? And you can see your altimeter here on the PFD. I don't know what's going on, guys. Sorry about this. My keys are all jacked up. All right, anyways, let's go ahead and set 3013. And what we can do real quick is refer to the airfield elevation and see if it corresponds to our current altimeter setting. Let's go back. Yeah, so our airfield elevation is 6,756 feet. We're at 6,760. Beautiful. So that checks out. Altimeter has been set. Fuel quantity check. I don't know why the camera's a little zoomed in here. Here we are. So remember, the avionics suite here on the Pilatus is all touchscreen. So you can see right here, you can check your fuel. We've got 2,640 pounds of fuel. That is more than enough. And check that the quantity of fuel on board is sufficient for the planned flight. Passenger signs have to be on. We're going to come to the overhead. There they are. Turn them on, and the no smoking. Okay, before our starting engine checklist has been completed, let's set our nav light to on. There we go. Oxygen is right here by the co-pilot side. You just got to press this in, and now you've got the oxygen control on. The beacon, we're going to set it up just to the halfway point, only for the beacon. Once we're ready for departure, we'll set it to the strobe feature. Power levers must be idle. Check. Gonna check my throttle on my Honeycomb Bravo. Okay, right engine must be set to start. We're going to hit the start button here for starter. And then we're going to set the generator to on. And now let's come back down, take a look at the instruments. You can see engine 2 is coming to life, even though you can barely hear it. ITT is rising, N1's rising, N2's rising. We've got oil pressure and temperature, good indications of a good engine start. So now it wants me to set the flaps and check. All right, so we're going to do that right now. Let's go flaps 8. You can hear them. Trims, we're going to set them for takeoff. So what we can do is come back here. You can see the right little airplane here. That's showing that your stab trim is not in the correct position for takeoff. So using your key binding or the manual rocker here for your rudder, aileron, and elevator trim, you can just adjust it until it's in the green. And there we go. We'll be at 1.5 degrees up. We're green. That is good. Flight controls, check and clear. Now, I'm noticing something here. It's having me do all of this before we start engine 1, which is interesting, but we'll follow along. So let's reset the camera. Let's check flight controls. Good and free. Good rudders. That checks out. Avionics set. Again, ensure the avionics, flight plan, GPS, etc. are as desired for the planned flight. Verified. Doors must be closed and locked. Don't really see what this is highlighting unless I'm missing something here. Let's do it again. And now we're going to go ahead and start engine 1. So set this to run and start engine generator 1 online. Let's go ahead and throw our avionics bus tie. It is on. Make sure that it's on. Just re-verifying it. Take a look at our PFD here, showing our engine indication, N1's rising, ITT, N2, oil pressure, fuel flow, and oil temperature climbing. Good steady flow. And that does it for your starting engine checklist, guys. So I'm going to pause here, and then we'll pick back up in just a few seconds. All right, guys, so we've got the airplane fired up. Everything is running nominally. We've got good fuel, flap set, pitch trim set for takeoff. Everything is flowing smoothly. Let's go ahead and release the parking brake. And then we're going to give it a little power, and we're going to check the brakes as we taxi out of here. I will say the engine sounds on this plane are phenomenal. You can really hear them coming to life as you spool up. Here we go, checking the brakes. Good brakes. And let's start turning left out of the ramp. And we're going to make our way to the runway here for departure. All right, guys, so here we are taxiing down to runway 8. Like I said earlier, the winds that we picked up around the neighboring airports looks like they're all predominantly coming out of the east. So we're going to take runway 8 here out of Big Bear. And as we're taxiing down, I want to show you something very important. Now, this is a very basic tutorial, first of all, right? We're not going to dive too deep into the avionics suite. This avionics suite on the PC-24 is provided by Honeywell. It's called the Ace. I don't know what that stands for, to be honest. I'm so familiar with Rockwell Collins and Garmin that I'm not too crazy with Honeywell. But anyways, it's pretty cool, right? It's all touchscreen here, kind of like your G3000 and G5000. So what you want to do, guys, is go here to your flight plan. And here you've got your point of origin, destination, alternate. It's not picking up the identifier here for Big Bear, which is L35, but you would just put the airport you're at. Do your route. You can go to your altitude and speed. This will be your cruising airspeed and your initial cruise altitude, and you can leave it or set it to whatever you want. But this is going to be your important part here, right? Your fuel and weight. So once you get your fuel, you checked it earlier, right? You want to go to your passengers, and right now I say that I have 3 passengers on board at 150 pounds each, I believe, or maybe that's the total. Holy crap! Look at that bear, guys. Look at that bear. What in the heck? Anyways, I guess it's very, very appropriate for an airport called Big Bear. Look at that guy. What the heck is going on there, man? Oh, I gotta get some footage of this up close. Hold up. All right, guys. Well, glad that bear did not cross into the taxiway here and we ran into a situation. I don't think the aircraft could bear it. Okay, enough jokes right now. So as I was saying, guys, you want to get your weight inputted here. I did a simulated 100 pounds on the cargo. Like I said, 3 passengers at 150 each, or maybe that's supposed to be the total weight. But I haven't dived too deep yet into the Ace Honeywell suite. So we're going to leave it there, and then what we're going to do is we're going to kind of hold here where we're at just before the hold short line. And then you're going to want to go to the next icon right there. The plane taking off. Here is the important part for your departure. Right now, if this airport supported SIDS or standard instrument departures, you would obviously have it here. Because it is not recognizing the airport, it's not even letting me select a runway or SID. However, right here is the important stuff. You can see we've got our V speeds, right? VR, which is the speed we're going to be rotating at. VX, which represents your best angle of climb. VY, your best rate of climb at 130, and 140. I'm be honest, I am a little rusty. I don't even remember seeing T before for my V speeds, so I'm just going to ignore that. But we're going to focus right here on these first 3, right? So we're going to rotate at 82 knots, and once we're airborne, we're going to pitch to climb at the best rate of climb, VY, of 130 knots. So I thought that was a pretty cool feature here with the Honeywell Ace suite. And keep in mind that because this is supposed to be a basic tutorial, I'm not trying to get too into the weeds of how to manipulate it, but we will be dedicating some more time because this airplane certainly has a lot of features for it being default. So anyways, let's go ahead and get set up for departure. So what we're going to do is we're going to hold short here officially. Hopefully that bear's not coming around for an attack. And let's pull up that EFB once again. Let's go to the aircraft and before takeoff checklist. So we're going to test the brakes by pushing the pedals and setting the parking brake. Okay. Brakes are on. Flight instruments check. While taxiing, check that instrumentations and avionics display correct information and work properly. So the compass, airspeed indicator, and your attitude indicator. We've already verified that up. Everything's going good. CAS, check. That is the advisory, right? So you want to look into your PFD, MFDs. Right now, my CAS is only showing parking brake is on and the engine anti-ice is on. Checked. Lights as required. So we're going to go ahead and set our lights up top here. Landing lights are going to come on. So we're going to set the pulsing lights on and the pulsing recognition. And let's go ahead and go to the strobe feature. Wing lights on. Everything is checking out. Everything is good. Before takeoff checklist is complete. Now for the after takeoff, we're going to establish a positive vertical speed. So when the airplane starts gaining altitude, set park brakes and retract landing gear. What? Huh. Interesting. Didn't know that. Never noticed that before. Anyways, we're going to climb. We're going to set the yaw damper, retract the flaps. MCP, that is your mode control panel. That is right up here. This is for your autopilot features and your controls. And it just wants you to set it to whatever you need. And then the landing and taxi lights come off. So we've already kind of conferred with our after takeoff checklist. We'll pick it back up in just a second. Let's release the brakes. Let's take the runway and let's get rolling. Departure end looks good. The approach end was clear. Runway 8 is ours. There's that bear hanging out. Alright guys, so trying this again. I went to take off, had the incorrect flap setting, and my stabilizer trim was way out of whack for some reason. Now, you're seeing that on the CAS there, you're seeing no takeoff in red. Now, the reason that's telling me that is because I have not properly set up the FMS on board or the flight management system or the computer to properly give me the weight imbalance. And so that's why it's telling me no takeoff. But because, again, this is a basic tutorial, we're going to just ignore that. So we're going to push the reset. It's probably going to scream at us here as we begin our takeoff roll. But anyways, there's the bear hanging out towards the taxiway. So let's slowly get on the power. And again, we're looking to rotate at 82 knots. Here we go. All right, slowly raising the nose. A little heavier than I thought. There we go. Positive rate of climb. Gear coming up. And again, remember 120 knots, it's our best angle of climb. So we're going to pitch up, pitch up, pitch up. Let's go ahead and clean the flaps up. But anyways, guys, we're going to pick back up on the approach back into Big Bear and show you how to land this thing. All right, guys, here we are on the downwind leg here for runway 8 back into Big Bear. Just like we've done in the other tutorial series, we're going to do a right traffic pattern entry here back to runway 8 for a full stop. Let's pull up that EFB once again and refer our before landing checklist. So altimeter check that we've calibrated. 3013 checked. Landing lights and taxi lights on. They're on the overhead panel right here. On. Passenger signs are on, as indicated up here by these switches that we turned on earlier. Landing gear down. So we're going to set the gear down here in just a moment. We're running on this right downwind for runway 8. And then we're going to move the air brake lever to the arm position. So we're going to do that right now. Let's go ahead and there we go. Speed brakes are armed. So that's the before landing checklist. It has been completed. So here we are, still coming back down. Remember, the airfield elevation is 6,700 feet. We're at 8,000 feet right now. So we don't have much to go coming down, but we still want to stay high above these hills right underneath us. Let's go ahead and set gear down. And let's begin making that right base turn. Gear down, we got 3 green there on the bottom MFD there, showing gear down and locked. Let's get flaps 8, first notch. And now for our VREF speed into this approach. I've noticed with this plane, it likes to land somewhere about 115 knots indicated, somewhere around there. Now, it's all depending on your weight, of course, so make sure you're keeping an eye on that airspeed indicator as you're bringing it down. And let's go ahead and go flaps full here. You see the runway there? We're going to open up here a little bit. We undershot on purpose just to be able to round it off here as we set up ourselves for a final approach. Okay, so there's 115. Kind of sinking a little bit. And we're a little bit low. This is a pretty cool approach. First time flying in and out of this airport, so it'll be fun. And right now, according to our vertical speed indicator there on the altitude tape, we've got a descent rate of about 650 to 700 feet a minute. Still a little bit low. Get on the power. And here we go, guys. Committing. This thing is floating. Ooh, a little bounce. There we go. Get back on that center line. This thing is drifting. Let's get on the brakes. Now, I'm kind of glad I floated there a little bit because you can see right now, of course, these engines don't have reverse thrust. So you're just depending on aerodynamic braking with those speed brakes and with your actual toe brakes. So we've brought it down nice and easy. Airplane slowed down. Remember, the Pilatus have a reputation for being able to adapt to very austere conditions and environments. So a paved runway is no problem for a Pilatus PC-24. It can do this on dirt strips, grass strips, you name it, it's got it. That's why it's got its big old chunky gears. So let's go ahead and start taxiing back to the ramp. Let's go ahead and clean the flaps up. Let's go ahead and there we go. Stow the speed brakes. And let's make this turn back to the ramp. And we'll pick up just ahead as we're taxiing back into our parking spot and getting ready for shutdown. All right, here we are taxiing back into our ramp where we departed out of earlier. Looks like we've got a glider there that kind of took up the spot we were going to use. So we're going to have to improvise here and let's see what we can do. Be pretty awesome to have some ground crew here kind of helping us and guiding us in, but we'll have to just figure it out on our own. So I think what I'm going to do is, I mean, I can just go straight in, honestly, and just have the ground crew tow me out later. No big deal. Or I can kind of open up to the right here near the fueling station there, the fuel tanks, and then spin around. But you know what? Let's do this instead. Let's run over these ramp workers, since clearly murder is perfectly acceptable in this airfield. Here we go. We're scanning. Gonna ignore these people that we're about to run over. And we're definitely gonna take the tail out of that glider there. And now, using asymmetrical thrust, we're gonna go ahead and spin it around. There we go. Getting on that right engine to produce thrust. And let's kick it over now all the way. And there we are. I see that's a decent parking job. Let's go ahead and pull up the post-flight, which is going to be our shutdown. So the first thing we want to do is set the parking brake. Let me bring this over a little bit. Parking brake is set. Speed brake retract, move in. So you can see the speed brake over here. It's got its out and in. So there is armed, there it's disarmed and in. The flaps, they must be in the up position, as you can see here, showing 0 degrees. Landing and taxi lights off. There we go. Engine master switches have to be off. So we're going to go ahead and look up top. And we're going to switch these to off. There we go. Engine master switches off. Passenger signs off. The oxygen, remember that oxygen from earlier today? We're going to go ahead and click on there again, and it's going to turn it off. Generator switches must be off. And then lastly, we're going to shut down our battery switches. But before we do that, let's go ahead and turn off our lights. And that's the shutdown procedure, guys. So we've successfully started, taxied, taken off, flown around a little bit, and done a quick approach here on the Pilatus PC-24. So you can see that's a pretty good parking job if you ask me, man. Although it's going to be fun firing up and getting all that jet wash into the restaurant there. Alright guys, well that does it for this tutorial on the Pilatus PC-24 jet. As you can tell, I definitely have a lot to learn still with this airplane. This was my second flight, but I think it's more than enough to get you guys going with firing it up, taxiing, taking off, and coming back for a landing. So definitely keep watching our channel. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. Let us know what we can work on. But anyways, guys, we want to wish you a Merry Christmas this year. And as always, smooth landings and happy flying. This is Captain Gonzo with that Flight Sim channel. See you guys.